Throughout the ages, much emphasis has been given to the left brain methods of purification, of enlightenment. The left brain methods work with the silencing of the mind. Certainly, that's one way of looking at it. And all meditation techniques are designed to give that left brain the ability to be silent, to at least know what it is like. The unfortunate thing is that, like the finger pointing at the moon, most started looking at the finger as the end on all of it. But that's not so. Meditation never was meant as a tool that became the end. It was just a means. And what this meant is that as meditation taught us what it was like to live from a place of silence, the hope was that eventually we would incorporate it into our life, living a life of meditation with full attention to the now. The question is often asked me, why is it that we have to meditate? Well, you don't. Not all methods are suitable to everyone, and there are definite people who prefer definite methods. But what would be the example of why meditation would work? Well, let's tell a little story. There was once a sage, and the sage had a genie in a bottle, and he let the genie out of the bottle, and the genie, of course, promptly did what all genies do, and said, "Master, how can I serve you?" So the sage gave him work to do that he wanted to have done, and of course immediately he was back, a little larger than before, saying, "Master, what is it that I can do to serve you?" And so it went on and on and on, and the sage was never permitted to sleep or rest or sit down for a minute of break, because very soon the genie would be standing there, larger than before, asking, "Master, what can I do to serve you?" Finally, the genie was beside himself, wanting more and more and more work, and the master was beside himself, wanting a little rest. Finally, he tried to outrun the genie, but the genie followed him at a rapid pace through the forest. "Master, what can I do to serve you?" And finally, when he could run no more, he plucked one of his very curly hairs out of his head, handed it to the genie, and said, "Here, straighten my hair." The genie straightened the hair would immediately curl again, he would straighten the hair, and so forth. And this kept the genie busy. Our surface mind is a lot like that genie. It constantly wants to demand, be in control, dictate. It wants to run things very helpfully, but it nevertheless torments us so that we cannot enter the place of silence, that place of mastery. And so meditation is a little bit like giving your surface mind genie a hair to straighten. During the time of meditation, it is in quietness, it is in silence. And so, as you do this, you learn what it is like to eventually live in silence. So, we have got the left brain methods that are attempting to silence the mind. This is not always that effective, because unless you actually take those methods and apply them in your life, all it will do is make life more and more unbearable and more abrasive, because it's so at variance with the quietness that you experience during the time of meditation. People can become quite irritable with loved ones, with yelling children, or anybody else that disturbs their peace when they come out of meditation. There is a way that is very effective, but again, it's only for some people, like meditation will work very well for some people. Let us take a look at the method of expansion of the mind, different than silencing the mind. In this instance, if we were to go back to our analogy of the genie and the sage, you would be giving the genie larger and larger tasks. You would ask him to sweep out the Empire State Building. Then you would ask him to sweep out New York. Then you would ask him to sweep out the whole East Coast of America, then the whole America, and so on until he sweeps out the world, and then he sweeps out the cosmos. You give him larger and larger tasks until finally he says, I'm finding this work will not work for me. I'm going to go and rest. This is exactly what we do in the classes that I give. People come in with their very cozy belief systems. I warn them that I'm going to stretch their mind, and they might get kind of irritated at me because surface mind does attack that which threatens its prison bars of belief systems. However, I do my duty, and so my duty is to push them further and further and further in perception, until finally the surface mind, not being able to handle it, because where we go, you have to go through heart. You cannot go through surface mind. It defies the laws of reason, and reason demands to constantly be pacified. So eventually what happens is that you have your genie give up, resign, and then you enter into your mastery. The left brain method of ascension that I use, and as a Nagual over the years, which is, as I've mentioned, a specific form of mystic that will in fact work with power to create more perception and work with it in a total impeccable way. Impeccability and dissolving illusion is the hallmark of a Nagual, a Toltec seer who is dedicated to leading others to freedom from illusion. So, if we take a look at the Naguals, they are divided into the 4 directions. I function from the East, and in the East there is the philosophical Nagual. The Nagual that is in any direction has one goal in mind: to set the person that they are teaching, whether they are called an apprentice or a student, or ultimately become masters themselves in their classes. They are designed to set them free from the tyranny of surface mind so that they can enter into full ascension. And so the philosophical Nagual that works in the East is very suited to creating opportunities for left brain ascension methods. The left brain ascension methods that a philosophical Nagual uses is to expand vision further and further and further, because the tendency of the left brain is to think that it knows, when it cannot possibly know the greatest majority of life in the cosmic reality because of its vantage point. Left brain can only see what's right in front of its feet. And if you want to equate it to a flashlight shining on the ceiling, can only see a very small but very bright spot. And as you enter into higher levels, the whole ceiling starts to light up, not just the small spot of a very tiny flashlight. So left brain cannot see that far. And initially, as I start in to stretch the mind of those who come to me for mastery, they first of all think they know. Yes, they are all nodding. Finally, I get the deer in the headlight look. And what that means is that now left brain is thoroughly confused. That's the time I give them even greater information. And the further I take their perception, the more irritable or more frustrated left brain becomes, and then eventually it just gives up. And finally they are able to hear me, because they come at the information from the heart. And so, as we continue through life, we will find that insight lies waiting in our environment. It could be in the form of challenges. But since August of 2006, when the poles in the cosmos reversed, we have been drawing in others of like energy and like matter. And the like energy and like matter that we are in fact attracting will give us ample insights, not of what isn't, but of what is. They will mirror to us what we are, so that we can become more of those beautiful things, so that we can gain inspiration, fun, laughter, beauty, all the qualities that slumber in our soul. And as we live them more fully, they are enhanced and others learn again from us. So we can learn by those who inspire us to greater heights, the type of people we want to be around, the light family we have sought. And so, as we continue through life, these are ways in which we gain perception. Well, the more perception we gain, the greater our leap up the rungs of the ladder onto the path of evolution. Perception is the left brain method, and enough perception causes transfiguration. And then again, as we shed and as we transmute anything that is not of worth into a learning experience or wisdom, we gain more and more perception, and yet again we have to transfigure. And that means that we move up to the next rung of the ladder. So as we move up the rung of the ladder through perception, perception changes our emotions, our feelings. And as we change our feelings, it changes our perception. Now, I want to actually qualify my statement, because feelings technically is non-cognitive information. And this is not really what I mean. I mean the pure emotions of our heart, the emotions through which we broadcast devotion, the emotions that are part of attitudes. And so, as we go along, the perception yields emotion, and the emotion yields perception. So there is a beautiful cycle between these two things where one yields the other. So even if you choose the left brain method of Ascension, it will heighten within your heart the love and the praise and the gratitude. And if you choose the right brain method, it will in turn effortlessly, without even realizing how, enhance your perception. And you will see further and further than you have ever seen before, and in turn, this enhances the pure emotions of your heart. Now, my beloved brothers and sisters, I just want to pause here for a moment and tell you where you can get those 12 pure emotions. We have them in the book, The Ring of Truth. We have them in the book, Opening the Doors of Heaven, Revelations of the Mysteries of Isis. And we also have them in our website, which is www.spiritualjourneys.com, as part of the Bel Vas Patah section. If you take a look at the 12 pure pairs of emotions, you will find that why they are paired is that they pulsate with one another. When they pulsate with one another, pure emotion flows from the heart. The one enhances the other. For instance, love and trust. The more trust you feel in your own higher aspect, in the infinite being's wisdom to guide your life, the more you love creation and all the beings around you. The more you love, the more you uncover the perfection and the divinity of all life, and the more you trust. This is exactly the way anything that pulses in the cosmos works. That is why the more perception you have, the more emotion it will engender.